Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new live stream. Today we're going to be talking about screenshots, and screenshots have become so much more important with the release of iOS 26, or with the upcoming release of iOS 26, that today is going to be even more special. And today is extra special because as of today, you can actually tie screenshots or custom product pages to keywords in App Store Connect. That just happened, so we're going to have a lot to talk about today. We got so many submissions for today's live stream, and really good ones that I wish I could do all of them. I can't because we had probably 10x or 12x what I can, but I will attempt to do my best. So, as per tradition, before we get started, tell me what's in your cup and where you're from in the chat. I'm here in sunny New York. It's crazy hot here, and I'm drinking some hot tea, clearly, because that's what you do when it's really hot outside. It's kind of cold here, so it's fine. Where are you from? What's in your cup? And we're going to get started talking about what makes a good set of screenshots and why you should even care in just a few moments. And then we're going to look at actual screenshots that were submitted by members, and we'll see if they're good or bad or what we can do to improve them. So there's a lot of learning to be done today. Let me know what's in your cup and where you're from, and we're going to get started very soon. Let's see what we got so far. We got hot coffee. I see a bunch of coffee. I already see some questions about screenshots. We'll get to those in a little bit. Coffee in the US. What else is going on? Hello from Vancouver. Hello from Canada. We're international again. Hooray. One day I will put a map of everyone on the screen. I know there are plugins to do that. I just haven't messed around with any of them yet. Mostly because I've been trying to figure out what all the new things that Apple is doing with Discovery with iOS 26. It's been quite a busy summer for that, I would say, and there's way more to come. It's pretty exciting. Green tea in Lithuania. That's cool. I'll switch to this monitor so I can see more things. What else is going on? Let's see. Hot coffee in Texas. More questions about screenshots. We'll get to those. Just tell me what's in your cup and where you're from. That's usually where we wait for people to shuffle in, and that's what we're doing here. And I see more people are coming in, so just another moment or two, and then we're going to get started. And enough for me to drink my tea, so I have voice at some point today. Water in Delaware. That's cool. Ukraine, continuing to be international. South Africa. That's nice. That's not a country that comes up too often. Again, international, as we are. So I think it's time. We're 3 minutes in. Let's get started. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I will get to them as I do this. The goal today is to go through apps that were submitted by you, the viewers, and analyzing them, highlighting what's good, and offering tips for how to improve, especially given everything that's happening soon. But before we even get started, let's talk about what makes a good screenshot and why you should even care. So why you should care is very easy. Up until now, screenshots were the most important thing for conversion, meaning once someone gets to your App Store page, and not your App Store Connect page, your App Store page, they need to know if the app is for them and if they should download it. Why? Because there's just so many apps. You search for anything these days and you get a ton of results. Not always relevant, but the users don't know that initially, so they have to figure that out. And in order to do that, they use the screenshots. So it's the job of the screenshots to tell the user, yes, this is exactly what you want. Not just what you want. It's got to be exactly and precisely, and it's perfect, and you need to download this right now. That's what they have to do in about 8 seconds. So that's really important, and you can spend all the time on App Store optimization or spend all the money on Apple search ads. If you're not doing that, you're going to lose a lot of conversion, and you're just throwing out good effort. So that's the main reason, and this entire year I've been talking about how to make better product pages with better screenshots, mostly for this. But then Apple dropped a really good thing on us, and they said you can now attach custom product pages, meaning additional sets of screenshots. You can attach them to keywords. So it's not as easy as it sounds, and it's unfortunately not as flexible as I thought it would be, but it still means that Apple will give you the opportunity to show specific searches, specific sets of keywords. So not only are you now able to use the screenshots in order to convert better, you can now use them to convert specific audiences. And that's not even it. This is still on conversion. On the discovery side, Apple said, we're going to read your screenshots and we're going to extract keywords for them. And we're going to use those keywords to rank your app. This is the biggest change. This is the one change they didn't announce. I had to find out all on my own. And this is a change some don't actually believe. I am glad they're going to be proven wrong over the next few months. So hopefully you understand why we need to worry about screenshots, and you're here, so I kind of get it. But what makes a good screenshot? A good screenshot has two things. One, it has all of the keywords that you want the algorithm to see. This is the new thing. This is the big thing. You have to worry about this. And at the same time, it has to balance having that element of conversion. So we have to make a screenshot that tells the user, yes, we have what you want, and we have to use the keywords to tell the algorithm, yes, this app has what the user wants. They're kind of aligned. So far, hopefully you're with me. Let's see if we have any questions in the chat that we can use before we jump into apps, and then we'll jump into apps. This is my very fast intro, so I can spend as much time as I can hands-on showing you what screenshots should look like. So let's see what we got. Slava is asking, does it help ASO if I add tablet screenshots to Google Play if I don't really target tablets? No, not really. Google Play, and as is the App Store, you don't really want to show what you don't have. Google Play is actually worse because if you show something you don't have, a user downloads your app and then really hates it because it's not what they were looking for, they will delete the app. And as soon as they uninstall the app, delete the app from their device, Google takes that as a strong signal for don't rank this app. So on the App Store, it's not really relevant. You can't do it on the App Store even. But on Google Play, if you do that, if you do anything that will trick a user into downloading your app just so you can help the algorithm, you're going to get slapped so hard. It's absolutely not worth it. I highly recommend against it. It's one of those things that if you do, you're going to have to undo, and after you undo, you already lost a lot of momentum. So it's not really worth it. Karim is asking, in which categories? Oh, I can put this on the screen. I forgot my own setup. So Karim's asking, in which categories does the use of preview video give more positive results? And that's a great question. We do not have an index for that, so I can't really give you a great answer off the top of my head. I know some categories where it works, some categories where it doesn't. The template that's in my mind, the rule of thumb is, if there is something that you can show about the app that is really expressive, or if you can excite the user through showing the app or showing something tangentially related to the app, then yes, you should go for a video. In some categories, mostly the more professional, very nuanced, not mass market professional, you may not need it. The users may already be looking for something extremely specific. And for them, it's a Boolean. Does the app have this, yes or no? They don't really want to scroll through a video or wait for a video to play in order to see this. They just want to see it in screenshot. So if your screenshots are really, really optimized, then you can add a video for really any category. The one caveat for videos is you can't really not do it well. If you do a poor video, if you have a poor app preview video, and this goes the same for Google, it will be looked at as a negative from a user because users expect apps to be as polished as possible, mostly because there are many, many, many apps that are really polished. Their design is really good, their layout is really good, the fonts are really good, the colors are really good. So if you come in with a video that is not amazing, it might be a negative for you regardless of the category. So realistically, that's what I would aim for, either a really good looking video that highlights and excites about the app or nothing at all. That's where I would draw the line. Now, as everything, test it. Don't just say yes or no to something. Say yes and then test it over time, or say no and look at competitors. And a very easy way is to look at competitors. If they have an app preview video and they're doing as well as you or even better, then you should at least give it a try. That's where I would go with this. Okay, so we'll continue into looking at apps. So I picked 6 apps at random from almost 100 that were submitted over the last week or so. Hopefully, I'll be able to get through all of them. Now, if you were here in the last live stream, you saw that I already had pre-selected some competitors and I matched against them and I tried to explain what to do. That took a lot of time and reduced the amount of apps that I could look at, and some members or some viewers have said that if I could do it a little bit faster would be nicer. So I'm going to try a slightly different thing today. Instead of having pre-selected any competitors, I'm going to, for some apps, actually do the research for competitors in real time. So if we're spending time on it, you might as well see my process in action. So the first app that we have on, oops. I'm back. I clicked the wrong button. The first app that we have on today's list is, let's see, where is my screen? Is Caption Video Subtitles. It's an interesting app. It's super niche, super specific. Interesting. I totally get why you would need something like this. It kind of feels like a feature more than a whole app. And this is just to show you, I've not seen these apps before. This is the first time. So I'm trying to figure out what I would want from an Caption Video Subtitles app. I like that all the keywords are right in the name. I can't think of yet any other keyword that would define what this app does. But I really like the initial screenshot. Instant subtitles with AI kind of speaks to me. So I actually like a lot of what I'm seeing here. This is going to be a learning opportunity for those of you who have not seen this before. I see a lot of positives. So let me outline the positives, and then I have some ideas for trying to take this to the next level, and even specifically with custom product pages, take this to the next level. So instant subtitles with AI, I like the font. So the font is good. That's number one. I like the colors. It's very simple. I like that we're showing the app in action. It's vibrant. It's colorful. It's got people. It's really all you need. There's only one thing that I would recommend putting on the first screenshot, and that is the number of something big. Number of ratings, number of downloads, number of captions created, number of languages supported, something that people can see and people can quantify. And this is social proof, but also people like numbers and people like seeing that something is big. I see 99 languages supported over here, which I think is a really good thing to add. So this is really good. I like the play on colors here, trending caption styles. I actually don't know what trending caption styles means. Maybe it's not an app for me, clearly, because I don't create a lot of videos for social media. I just do them here on YouTube, which is a good reminder. If you like what I'm doing so far, give this video a like. I usually forget and only ask at the end, but here I'm asking early. So take a moment, give the video a like, and if you're not a follower, a subscriber of the channel, give that a look too. I do this every few weeks, and there are a lot of good nuggets that are happening here. So after you like the video, continuing. Trending caption styles, 99 languages supported, social media optimized, create your own styles. There's more going on here. Adjust text and timing. Tap to highlight words. Like, all this is really good. I love what I'm seeing here. I think this is a very good set of screenshots to convert. I think some social proof here in screenshot number one will definitely be helpful, especially with something like this, where you may not know if this is good or this is bad, or if this is something that a lot of people are using. So that's something I would do. And what I would do beyond that is think about specific use cases for the kind of captions that people are using this for. So this is very feature specific. It's feature rich. There are languages, it's for social media, it's got trending captions, which I would probably rephrase as what this really means: a lot of options. A lot of options that people love, because it took me a few seconds to figure out what that meant. We got some styles, so you can customize, adjust text, again, customize, tap to highlight words, some feature, but the basic here is these are all features. These are things that people can do with the app. But what is the outcome of these features? And that's something I talk about pretty much with every live stream. And that ends up being really, really, really important, because most people are not necessarily in the mindset of looking for features. In some cases they are, and in some cases they want something very, very nuanced and specific, like something they can tap on to highlight a specific word. The only thing is that's rarely the case, and in most cases people have an idea, and that idea should then transform into the outcome. So what is the outcome of subtitles with AI? Your videos will get more viral, potentially, or have more potential to go viral. People will be able to see your videos with audio off or something like that. volume down. There are other things that I can't think about at the moment, but I'm sure that if you're in this field, you can. And if we look at competitors, and I don't know how many competitors we'll find for this specific niche, but if we look at that, I think we will see them highlighting those if they're doing a good job. So what I would attempt to do, and I would probably do this using an A/B test, is instead of just having features, I would transform maybe the first 4 or maybe 5 screenshots to specifically use cases. So make your video, give your videos the potential to go more viral, volume off, think about a few other things that people would want and specifically highlight those. Then you can also show features in other screenshots. I don't think we're using all 10 here, right? It doesn't look like all 10. So you have a few more. You can push some of these aside, inject some of these new screenshots into the beginning, and that's how you can win and potentially get more conversion, because who wouldn't want their video to go viral? But who needs 99 languages supported? You see what I mean here? Like, it's good because it means that if you're not a native English speaker, or if you're doing this from a different country, from a different language, it will work for you. But for most people, they only care about the one language that they speak. So does it cater to, let's say, I speak Chinese, is this going to work in Chinese? This doesn't really answer the question. But will it work for all languages? That's a different thing. Will it make my video go viral? Maybe. 99 languages doesn't really say that, so that's where I'm going with this. Also, as I'm thinking about this, 99 supported languages is actually not great because I don't know if my language is supported, so maybe find the most used languages and show those flags on the screen, or show something like that on the screen, like English, Spanish, German, and 97 more, or something like that, 96 more, just to give people the ability to quickly recognize that their languages, the language they care about, the one language in most cases, is actually available. So that's what I would do with this. Let's see if we have any comments, any quick comments, because that was a lot and I talked as fast as I could, so we can continue. But let's see. Videos. Nope, we are good to continue. So, okay, let's see what we have next. Okay, so next we have Keeper, tax filing and expenses. Keeper, tax file and expenses powered by AI. That's kind of cool. I mean, a very good way to use AI to make money. I like that. And everyone is using AI these days, so why not? It makes sense. Hopefully it's done well so it doesn't hallucinate, but let's see. Okay, so file complex taxes confidently. Cool. I see 100,000 plus happy customers powered by AI, intuitive modern design, and an illustration of a person. That's always good. AI finds every deduction is circled. I like what I'm seeing here. It's plain but to the point. Expert reviewed returns. Okay, so it's not AI? I don't know, we'll get to that in a moment. Get instant answers. Instant answers about what? I'm in Vegas for a conference this week and some work meeting next week. Can I deduct hotel and food? Absolutely. Okay, this scares me. I'm not an accountant, but this scares me. Stay organized year round, so I imagine this is something... Oh no. This is just to see what's going on. Okay, cool. And there's a video too. We'll skip the video for now and focus on the screenshots. This is interesting. So I can see this going in a few ways, and I think there are probably a few tax apps out there. I'm trying to think what would be good. So what I'm wrestling with is file complex taxes confidently. I'm not sure that's how I would think about my taxes. My taxes are probably not complicated enough. But how many people have taxes that are really complicated that would come to the App Store and look for complex tax filing, and then instead of clicking on an app that has complex or complicated or something like that in the name, we'll click on just Keeper tax filings and expenses? I don't know. So this confuses me a little bit. I think the rest is probably okay, but this confuses me a little bit. So what's really the goal here? Is the goal to say this has the chops to do everyone's taxes? Or is this going to do a really good job on taxes? And if that's the case, that's what I would do. Because this took me a few moments to grok, and I don't think that's something you want, especially when you're trying to sell to someone who's thinking about money. If you complicate something that needs to be simple, maybe you're not going to get the download. So that's something I would definitely look at. The other thing is, I think the 100,000 plus happy customers, I would make this way bigger. There are 100,000 people who are using this app, and they're happy about it, apparently. Why not show off? You have to show off. No one's going to squint and say, okay, let me find the social proof. So make this big. That's a real good number to be proud of. Like, be happy. Get excited. So I like what's going on here, but I would simplify this a lot. What is the one thing that I will get done very quickly? And I think really that's screenshot number 2, to me at least. I don't do my own taxes, so I don't really think about this very often. But if I did, that's the one thing that I would think about the most. I mean, doing your taxes in general is a bunch of Excel sheets, but this is the one piece that is art. So if the AI can do a really good job, I would highlight that. To me, that is a great benefit, because that is what saves me money on my taxes, not just does my taxes. So I would experiment with maybe not merging these two, because I still like that it has its own visual, but somehow saying that the app is going to help you not just organize your taxes or do your taxes, but also help you get more out of your taxes. And that's what I would use the first screenshot for. Remember, the first screenshot is what people care about. And in this case, it's different in color, and I really like that too. It really stands out. So use that to your advantage and make sure that you're really calling out the one important thing that is happening. Now, in addition to this, if we're thinking about keywords, taxes are in this, and that's already a good thing. I think this can be rephrased, but I would not take the taxes out, because we want something related to tax and filing and expenses and AI in this. And you already have AI, you already have taxes, so keep this aligned with taxes. Maybe easy tax filing, maybe smart tax filing, something like that. That's what I would do here. I think that would give you 1, more visibility, and 2, more conversion. Now, the rest I really like. It's simple, it's to the point. Even though there isn't a lot going on in a screenshot like this, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So I really like this. I'm confused by this, because we've been talking about AI all along, and now it's expert reviewed returns. So, I mean, it sounds great, because otherwise the AI can hallucinate and bad stuff will happen. But I would introduce this with a little bit more. I would introduce this. I don't think it's being introduced here, just kind of stated. And also, look at what's happening here. 20,000+ reviews, 4.8 stars, featured by Apple, Forbes. Why wait until screenshot number 3 for this? This is the kind of stuff people want to see up front. They're not going to say, does it have my features? But wait, does anyone use this? They're going to see featured by Apple, something on Forbes, 20,000 somethings. Yes, I will continue to see if this app does what I want it to do. Now, it might be a subtle difference, because what's the difference, really? But there is a big difference. People are, this is their money. This is something they have to rely on. If they want to rely on something like this, they can't just rely on something because it has features. They need to rely on it because other people are relying on it, and that's how they know that it's good, because there's really no other way to know that it's good unless they came from one of those blog posts about 10 best apps to do your taxes with AI. And if they did, this would still help them pick over the other 9 apps that are in this list. So there's really no way for this not to work to your advantage. So that's what I would do here. Something I would do, let's see if I can do this quickly, is I would quickly look at other tax apps. So tax filing. Let's just see if this is something. Now, no one cares about it because of popularity of 5. So let's do file taxes and see what happens. Also popularity of 5. Okay, not ideal. Taxes. Okay, 24. We're getting somewhere. And look at this is 100. That's wild. Okay, so TurboTax, obviously that's your competition. H&R Block, also your competition. IRS to Go, that's the official IRS app, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's your competition, so we're going to ignore that. My Block, that's the real H&R Block, right? Maybe not. Tax layer. So we got a few options. QuickBooks says something for this. Okay, so not exactly, but almost. Tax file with a Y and an F. I mean, the F would be there. The Y wouldn't. Tax is done for you. Let's take a quick look at TurboTax because they're really the beast. And I mean, for a beast, they're only getting 108 new reviews, and look at their average. It's 1.71. Like, no one likes this. You should beat this. If you can, that's what you should be doing. So let's see what we got. Let's take a look at their full profile very quickly. Oh, I see where you got the filing with confidence. File with confidence. Just because Intuit does that does not mean you should copy. Intuit has a ton of money to advertise, and I looked this up multiple times. So they are aiming for a slightly different way of conversion, which when someone discovers you organically from the App Store, they may not have that same mindset to go after. So file with confidence is not something I think would be as important, but at the same time, they are also following up, doubling down on the confidence. The confidence is not that you can do complex taxes, it's that an expert does your taxes, and a live expert, and there's stuff here, and it's 100% accurate. So they're really leaning into it. If you wanted to go down that route, something about complex and confidence, then you should really show what is a complex set of taxes. I don't exactly know what to expect. Doesn't mean you have multiple W-2s. Doesn't mean that you have, is it 10 W-2s? If you do a lot of work, is it for contractors? And that's also something we can look at too. So I'm looking at this. It's very plain, very simple. They're all about the experts. Unlimited expert help, let expert help, expert. It's all about the expert. So they're not exactly even your competition because you're doing this with AI, which is considerably different. Let's see if they have any product pages. None that we can see at the moment. Okay. So going back, instead of trying to copy them, what I would do is lean into what your app does really best and highlight that. Now, the cool thing you can do here, and you have a lot of flexibility if you were to use either Apple Ads or the organic attaching keywords to custom product pages, is you can go after specific use cases that would need to file. So if, for example, this app really is for very complex taxes, and let's say small businesses or small service businesses need really complex taxes, this would be a way to cater to those. So let's say you are catering to lawnmower business. Let's just say that's a real thing. It is a real thing, but let's just say that's something that your app does really well. You can have a custom product page that targets specifically small service companies that are in the gardening space, and you can have screenshots that are more similar to what they would have in mind, maybe a lawnmower or some green, and you can show them their kind of, or how the app would handle them. So in something like this screenshot, you can show things that have to do with lawnmower business, or an electrician business, or a plumber, or something like that, and then you would attach them, and that would give you instantly more conversion. There have been many, many researchers that shows that it can double your conversion rate, and even more in some cases, which I fully believe because it's so targeted. So that's what I would do for this. Although the takeaway here is that I really like the style. The style feels very clean to me, very specific, but also very, very direct. There are people, even though it's an illustration and not a real person, the colors are good. The font is very refined, so it's the right font for something like this. It's friendly enough, but it's still very precise. Well done. Hopefully you can use these tips and put them into action. Okay. Next one is Otter Transcribe voice notes. Okay, that's kind of cool. It seems like everyone is in the transcribing business at the moment. And if you read our AI report from a few months ago, you know that this is actually an amazing space to be in. I called it an opportunity back at the end of January or February or March area. And I think that's still the case. So I like what I'm seeing here. But let's see. Record and transcribe live. Notes, voice memos, lectures, online meetings. I like this. Cool. Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. Very subtle. I don't know if most people will realize what's going on here. So I like it as a design element. Let's continue. But here's what I would call a cardinal sin of screenshots, and that is this totally useless screenshot. And I don't mean to be mean, and I know I say this every time, but if you think about it from a user perspective, I'm seeing this. I have no clue what it is. I have to squint to understand what's going on. A voice memo. What if I don't do voice memos? Is this app just for voice memos? I know you said it isn't in screenshot 1, but you're showing me voice memos and nothing else. Something with all hands. How many people know what all hands are? Maybe this is specifically to one niche, but I think this is a little bit too specific. And you have so many words here from an algorithmic standpoint. If Apple is reading these screenshots and they're angled, I don't know if Apple can extract anything out of this. Not only are there no keywords in here, I think it's just a wasteful screenshot for screenshot 2. You can do this later at the end. I don't think you should, but you could. But really, give me a reason for why do I need this? And I don't need this because there are 2 iPhones side by side. Like, that doesn't really sell me in any way. So I looked for maybe voice notes, let's just say, and I found this app, and it says record and transcribe live. It doesn't say anything about notes. And yes, it does here, but when there's so much text, people tend to not read all the text. They kind of glance at it. Again, keep in mind, there's so many apps out there. So there isn't a single category, there isn't a single keyword where there aren't multiple results. And so if I see what I want, I'll get it. If I don't see what I want, I'll just go to the next one. I'm, of course, making this a little bit more dramatic and extreme than what it is, but that's really the way the brain works ultimately. So it might be a little bit slower for some, it might be a little bit faster for others, but our goal with screenshots is we have to hyper optimize them to the point where there's no case where someone can look at it and say, oh, I don't know if this is for me. Let me look at the next one. So that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for perfection. We're not talking about an A, we're talking about an A+. So that's why I'm highlighting things like that. But let's continue. AI chat for quick answers. That's actually kind of cool. So you take a recording and you turn it into a transcription, and then you can talk to it. It's kind of like Claude Code, but for your transcripts. I like this. I would make this, I would highlight this a little bit more. And again, we're looking at features here and not actual benefits. AI chat for quick answers. It's like a feature benefit. It's not a feature and it's not a benefit. You get quick answers, but for what and how? And AI chat is a feature. I would lean into just one of those. So ask your voice recordings questions or get more out of your voice recordings via chat or something like that. That's what I would be looking at. Collaborate, share, and export. Cool. I think that's really easy and explainable. Record in English, Spanish, and French. I really like this. This works for me. I like the colors. I like the layout. I really like the fonts. I think the font selection here is really great. And I picked all these apps completely by random, and this is just a really good set so far. So if this is not your app, please learn from this app and the app before and the app before that. I think they're all using visual elements really well. Simplicity, not too much color, but still enough to feel right. Nothing here feels unpolished, and I really like this. Transcribe meetings, lectures, notes, and more. This should be screenshot number 1. Maybe not in this particular orientation. We don't really need this up top, but this is exactly what I want to see. I see some people, I see some apps that I know. I'm using probably at least one of those. I use 2. And so this is the core, and yet this is hiding as the last screenshot that most people are probably not going to swipe to. I would use this as screenshot number 1, clean it up a little, throw in some kind of social proof, maybe number of ratings, number of people using it, number of downloads, number of transcriptions the app has done. These are numbers that can easily become big without the app even taking off. So that's where I would go with this. This confuses me. This has too many words. This does not show me anything. That's kind of problematic. Now, changing our lens and going and looking directly, specifically at keywords, there are some things here that we can use, but I think you can also introduce more keywords into here. So for example, we're saying Otter transcribe voice notes, and we're duplicating notes. I just realized this. Not good. So I would use voice notes and transcription in some variety in all of your screenshots. Record and transcribe live notes, or record and transcribe live 2 notes. I don't know, something along those lines. So you want the word notes in here, you want the words voice, you want the word transcribe or transcription as much as you can across all of these to get more discovery. But also, so people who looked for transcribe voice notes or voice transcription or something like that will see those same keywords right in the screenshots, and as quickly as they see them, then they will think that the app is for them. They will feel the app is for them and not have to read too much. When people have to read too much, they just don't. And that's the reality of what you have to do to convert. I'm kind of curious. What is voice notes or transcription? I don't even know what to look for. Let's say voice notes. How big of a category? Oh, wow, a 36. Okay. Learning something new. Of course, Apple is number one. We're going to ignore that. Voice notes, AI notes, and meetings. Otter. Hello, Otter. Doing well. So that's looking pretty good. I'm trying to think, what else can we do here? Oh, you definitely want to get rid of this duplication. If you get rid of this duplication, I think you can become number 2 for this, for 36. That's going to be amazing, right below Apple. So after this video, like, go and change this right away as you're updating your screen. Don't even wait for screenshots. Just go and remove the duplication. Let's see what else is going on here. AI note, also duplicating. Thanks. Voice recorder, easy voice recorder. So more voice recorders than transcribe voice and notes. I record. Let's see what they're doing. See if there's anything interesting we can learn from. Oops, found a bug. Let's see if this loads. This does load. Okay, interesting. So, not terrible, but at the same time, this is very busy. Record and transcribe in real time, very similar to Otter. Import to transcribe in voice memo or other apps, very feature heavy. Search any word in voice notes. That's actually a cool use of something similar to what you're doing with use AI to talk to your notes. This is maybe a little bit more of a feature way to look at it. Manage file export. So this is really feature heavy. This is dense. And you can see these screenshots are much harder to look at. When I look at these, I don't necessarily want to read what's going on. There's not a lot of spacing here. There's not a lot of padding. There's a lot shoved into this. I don't need to see this entire iPhone. I don't need to see this entire thing. I'm not going to go and poke and say, oh, let's go through and listen to all of this or read all of this and then listen to it. It's like, it's way too much. So I think Otter is doing a really good job here, and this is the opposite. So that's good. You're doing well. Learn from this again. Let's see if we have any questions, and then we'll continue. All right, I have to bring this up. Where's my chat? If you don't think I'm picking these at random, you don't have to be here. It's very, very simple. Okay, let's see. Okay. No good questions. We will continue. So let's see. What else do we have? Okay. Next up, Brzzy. Brzzy? Brzzy? Something with breeze. That's what I see here. Brzzy weather AI forecast. That's kind of cool. I mean, why not throw AI into everything? That is a keyword. It's very competitive. So if you're just throwing AI into this, for the sake of throwing AI into this, it's not really going to give you that boost. If AI does something really amazing and there's no one else doing AI in this particular category, then it would help you. But just saying AI at this point, we're several years into this, is just making it harder to compete. And I've seen this across pretty much every industry, every niche in the App Store, especially with Apple ads. The prices, the bids on Apple ads for any keyword that has AI are tremendously high. So unless you absolutely need this, you don't have to. Now, okay, so weather reimagined. I already have a problem with this. Brzzy, if you're in the audience, we're going to talk. Ask Brzzy anything, share stickers with friends, weather radar, explore your weather feed. Earn XP, level up, don't break your Brzzy streak. Is there really a streak for looking at the weather? Okay. Historical weather trends. How sweaty will you feel? Ha, that's actually a cool one. Activity ratings for any weather. Tomorrow's like, okay, so we started off a little bit slow, but this has evolved into something really cool. Like this. This is great. I think this should be like the second screenshot. Maybe not like this. But okay, we have a few problems here that I have to highlight. So And I think when I say problems, I really mean opportunities. There are opportunities to improve here. So here's what's going on. Weather reimagined doesn't really mean much to me. So if I'm looking for a weather app, and keep in mind, every iPhone already has a weather app. So you need to really wow me. And just saying reimagined does not wow me. It might feel like it, seem like it, but really that's not it. So what does it mean by reimagined? How is it better? Why is it better? And is anyone else using this? Does anyone care? If you're making a big claim like weather reimagined, I would imagine that someone really famous said something about it, like maybe an article in a big publication, or maybe 2 million 5-star ratings, or maybe something for reviews, 1,000, 10,000 reviews. But give me a reason to understand what's going on. Also, from an algorithm standpoint, reimagined is not really a word that people are looking for. No one's looking for weather reimagined on their iPhones. It's very unlikely. So you're really wasting a keyword here. What is reimagined? That's what I want to know. Put that in the first screenshots, and then ask Brzzy anything. I'm calling this Brzzy because it's the only way I can pronounce it. Ask Brzzy anything. Again, this is an interesting feature, but at the same time, I don't really know what. Can I ask it about my taxes? Can I ask it about can I ask it about my notes and not get Otter? See what I mean? That's really what I'm trying to convey here. You want to be specific, because if I'm reading this, I have something in mind. There's something that I want to accomplish. It's not ask Brzzy anything. I don't want to accomplish that. I want to know certain things. So if this is a better interface for understanding the weather, if this is, you don't have to look through charts, you can just ask what you want, that's perfect. But if you don't say that, I'm not intuitively going to get it. And if I don't intuitively get it, then you really lost me again. So that's something that I think you have a powerful feature, but you need to tell me why I need this. Why do I want this? Share stickers with friends. I don't know why this is here. Hopefully this is a bug, some collection bug, but weather radar. Okay, nice and simple. And this is also a really good way to show the algorithm that you have a feature called weather radar. How often does it update? Doesn't really matter. How many features does it have? If you can zoom in, where it comes from, like none of these things matter. This is the way to do it. Weather radar, check. We did it. Explore your weather feed. What is a weather feed? Is a weather feed just like a weather app? Because that's, I don't know, that's what the app does. I don't exactly get this. I know we're deep into the screenshots here, but I don't see a value in something like this. So if there's no direct value, replace it with something else. Don't just drop it, because there might be something there, but figure out a way to excite me. Why do I need this? Why do I need a weather feed? What is a weather feed? Are you the only app with a weather feed? Because that's kind of cool. Let's see the next one. Earn XP, level up, don't break your Brzzy streak. I don't know what any of these mean, to be very honest, and I don't mean to be mean when I say this, but if I don't get it and I'm trying to get it, a regular user might just gloss over it. And you don't want that, because the more they gloss over it, the less they think they need it. So maybe you have 1 or 2 screenshots, 1.5 screenshots, where a user could just gloss over, but if you lose them, they're lost. And then you lose the download, and you're in a really, really, really competitive category. And there are very clear leaders. You have the Apple app, obviously, but you also have the Weather Channel and a few others that I remember that are always at the top. So you're competing with giants. You can't compete with giants with screenshots that people are going to ignore. So figure out what it is that you're really trying to show. What is a weather streak? I don't get it. So once we figure that out, that's what I would try to explain. Now, if a weather streak is something really amazing and you think you can Duolingo weather, perfect. But figure out a way to show me why I need to care about this. That's what really matters. And then historical weather trends. That's cool, but it's kind of buried all the way at the end, and it is cool. So that's the kind of thing I would highlight. And back to this is my favorite screenshot. This is my favorite feature, because this is not a feature, this is a benefit. A feature is to show humidity levels. How sweaty will you feel? That's a benefit. That's the kind if you throw away all the other screenshots, redo the first one, and keep this, you'll probably get better conversion. Probably not, because people are looking for features because you have a lot of competition, but I would move this up. This is really, really good. Activity ratings for any weather. That's kind of cool. That sounds kind of useful. I would highlight this as well. And then tomorrow's weather. I kind of expect this from every weather app. Why is this all the way at the end? I'm not sure. So really focus on what really, really matters. And that's what I would do. And just to give you a quick, just to look at this quickly, let's see if we can find, what are we looking for? We'll look for the weather channel. So the weather channel, what is happening here? The weather channel is the game to beat at this point because they're number one, and whenever you look for the weather, you will find the weather channel. They're in a million keywords and they're really easy to identify. So you're competing with this, the world's most accurate forecaster, hands down. So you got some social proof right up front. Track storms, something very specific. Notifications. Is mom getting rain today? They try to turn rain into a benefit. That's kind of cool. Weather effect on skin and health. So they're doing the exact same thing that I'm saying here. They're trying to turn everything into a benefit. And you have it with the sweaty meter. I think you're doing this, but look at what's going on. It's really nice. So that's the game to beat. Simplify, focus, and I think that's going to give you a lot more a lot more conversion. Now let's see if we have any more questions. Let's see. So okay, here's a good question. I'll bring this up. So Bian is saying, need more contrast for the text on the screenshots, but I remember last live you mentioned that shadows and outlines can make it harder for the AI to read. What would you do here? Very good point. Very good point. So let's zoom in a little bit just to see what we're talking about. So historical weather trends, it's not terrible. But and maybe the screen washes it out a tiny bit. I think it's a little bit more contrasty, but I do agree. I think more contrast is going to be more better. So it would be ideal to add more contrast. I would make the background a little bit darker, or swap the way the gradient is done. So it goes from dark to light, because the light on the bottom is fine, and the dark up top will make historical weather trends in white be very contrasty. I would do something like that. Now, there's a little bit of shadow on this. I don't think it's bad. It's only when it's very hard to define the outline of the shapes that the AI can get confused, or the OCR, or whatever is being used to determine the text from this. So if it blends into the background, or if you can't say this is where the letter ends and the background begins, that's when it gets into trouble. And for every different character, every single character, it's not just for one or two. So it has to know the whole thing. It doesn't, I don't know how Apple does it, but I don't imagine that it will try to interpret half words. So if you had only half of this word, let's say in a visible, with a visible background, and half that is maybe a little bit less contrasty, I don't think Apple will try to fill in the blanks, because that could create chaos. So make sure that everything that's going on here is fine. And I'm starting to realize maybe this is not a gradient, and maybe this just has some sort of a glow on it. But whatever it is, I would swap that so it's darker up top, and if we want some sort of a gradiented on the bottom. So this is not terrible, but it's not ideal also. I think it's right on the edge. So if you want to be safe, make this a little bit more contrasty. If you like the way this looks and it fits with the feel of your app, leave it as is, and I think you will be fine. I think we're right on the cusp. Okay, so continuing. I think we have time for one more. Let's see if we can do one more. So next one is home fitness trainer, Firefly, daily mobility and workout coach. A lot of keywords. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I like it. But let's see what we're seeing here. So we have a video. Video looks kind of cool. Improve your form and mobility in real time. Control your coach's difficulty level. Review your analyzed performance. Share your best moments with friends. Unlock your next workout with proper form. Keep your routine or workout in check. Customize your workout plan. Okay, so again, we're kind of in the same boat where we're highlighting features. Let's take a look at the video so I think I understand what the app does. I think it tracks your form as you do exercises and then tells you if you did it right. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm going to go download this. So so we have several opportunities here. And I think the first one is I had to watch the video in order to understand what the app does. I kind of had an idea with the stick figure of what it would be, but if I just have ideas, that's just me. It doesn't mean that everyone else is going to have the same ideas, and that's not how you're going to get to convert. So realistically, I don't think what we're doing here is doing justice for the app. So the opportunity here is to explain, why do I need this? And why won't I get one of the many millions of other apps that exist? Not millions, but many of the thousands of apps that are competing on home fitness. Not because it's a home fitness trainer. There are many, 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 many apps that are home fitness trainers, but this will help me with my form in a way that none of the other apps will help me. They're going to show me illustrations or maybe videos, pre-recorded videos. This tells me on my own body. Like, that's super cool. I haven't used this app, so I don't know how awesome it is. I'm going to download it because this looks awesome, and I want to make sure that I don't hurt myself. I don't know, this red doesn't look like a good amount of fun. So that's what I want. If you can show me this right up front, and then you can show me 1,000 happy people are training with Firefly, or 5,000 5-star reviews, something like that. Just show me that the one benefit, the one thing that it does really well is going to happen, and two, that a lot of people do it. And not this, because there's so much going on here. There are a lot of colors. Screenshots with pictures in them, real pictures, are really vibrant, and they're good when you need them to be eye-catchy, but here you don't. Here they're doing the opposite. My eye has no clue where to look. Do I look at this person? Do I look at this person? Do I look at the stick figures? Do I look at the red? Do I look at this big timer? Do I look at this orange thing that kind of feels like a toggle? Why is there a toggle here? Do I look at what is Warrior 2? What is this? What is happening here? He's out in nature. That's kind of cool. So I know what all these things mean. I know this is a timer. I know this is a timer. I think this is a timer. I think this is the name of the pose. I think this is how it's supposed to be. But when I think about it, that's just me with my knowledge. If some people don't have that knowledge, it's not really going to convert for them as well. So that's what you have to figure out. How do you show the value immediately? Now, this is busy. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So I would simplify as much as I can. I know showing the app is a really easy way to explain what the app does, but I get it, and maybe some users will get it. I guarantee you that many users will not get it. They will just go above their heads, and then you're losing a download. So that's something that I would try to focus on. I like what I'm seeing here with the... No, but these are just full screenshots. Yeah, I would make this a lot simpler. And you saw some of the other apps that we looked at from the beginning of this live stream. They do it really well. Go and copy really any of them. The first one that we looked at, where there was an iPhone and practically just one statement, really big, really chunky characters, that would work kind of well for something like this if you can convey the sentiment really fast. We looked at Otter, we look at Keeper. They're doing things that are very similar. Really any of those, if you can bring to this app, and keep I like the idea of the stick figure. I think that's very specific, and explain why the stick figure is the important thing about the app. That's what would make it best. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Now let's quickly take a look at Inspector and see, just so you have an idea of how busy this space is. Because I've looked at this many, many, many times, and we'll go for home fitness. 241 for home fitness. You have a bunch of apps. No equipments. This is the app that always comes up. They are big. You have all these apps that are really competing and really want to take your downloads. Oh, hey, this is a check that kind of looks like a heart. That's kind of nice. I thought this was the app we were looking at, but it is not. So there's a lot going on. Let's see, fitness at home. Fitness at home. That's a 5. That's unbelievable. Home workout. Maybe fitness is not a word people are looking for. Okay, a 44. Now we're talking. So stuff is happening. But... look, this is so busy. 227 results. I bet you there are even more apps, and these are just the apps that Apple has brought to the top. And this is just on the App Store and Google Play. You have just as many, if not more. They're getting a lot of ratings, so it's not going to be very easy to compete against them. And so you want to be very specific. And I don't exactly know keyword-wise what would make this very specific, but I do know that you can play on that as well, especially if someone's looking for workout form or fitness coach. There was a coach in one of the screenshots, so fitness, because you're really coaching in addition. And fitness goes to 23, which is not bad. It's not super high, which is kind of good. It means that you can actually compete in it. And I see some opportunities here. No coach, no coach. So you have some opportunities here, both in the keywords and also on the on the screenshot side to really get more conversion. I think that would be really ideal if you do that. So that's that. We have 5 more minutes. Do we have time to do one more? Let's try to do one more. I'm in a racing mood, so let's see if I can race through this. XS VPN USA opened and connect US. That's a lot of stuff. Fast and safe, V2Ray proxy tunnel. Whoa. So step number 1 is you have to declutter. There are way too many keywords here, and I don't know if that's working really well. Let's look for VPN USA. I'm just curious if that's something people care about. VPN USA. Okay, a 32. Looking good. And are we in VPN USA? No, we're not in the top 15 results. So I think because there's just so much going on here, open, connect, US, USA, fast, safe, proxy, tunnel, XS, there's just so much going on that it would be harder for the algorithm to figure out where to put you. So use the localizations, as I've mentioned many, many times before, to maybe focus on different things. So maybe bring tunnel into one localization and V2 array into another localization and stuff like that. But VPN USA, maybe focus on that. It's a very high popularity. I would do that. Now, next gen VPN for speed, privacy, and unlimited freedom. XS VPN. US VP. What is this? Why is this N weird? Oh, because liquid glass. One tap to connect, unlock apps and games with low latency, stream content, fast, stable, secure. This is actually doing a bunch of stuff we talked about so far. So one tap to connect is kind of a benefit. It's a feature, but it's also a benefit. Easy to connect, don't have to do anything special. Unlock apps and games. That's really the benefit here. It's also, it's not a feature actually, because you don't really unlock games. You just VPN, so they don't know where you're coming from. Low latency is the feature. This is nice. I actually like what's going on here. Stream content from anywhere in full speed. Open VPN, optimize for this. I would actually move these into a separate screenshot, which may or may not make Apple unhappy. I can't say with certainty, so take this with a grain of salt. But fast, stable, and secure, I like that too. I don't exactly know if that shows fast, stable, and secure. Unlimited access to all websites and apps. Okay. Use unlimited internet calls. Choose from global servers in 100+ locations. Connects more with AI-driven VPN. What does an AI-driven VPN do? AI boost, how? I'm going to have to figure out how AI-driven VPNs work, or what AI is. Or if this is your app, please email me and tell me what's special about an AI-driven VPN. Mostly for my curiosity. I don't see how the two connect, but stay secure now and always. I really like this sort of stuff. And VPNs are really different than everything else we've looked at, because it's a feature that, 1, is super crowded, 2, does not really come with a brand name. Most of the VPNs that are really successful have no brand name. I looked at them a whole bunch of times. I looked at their downloads. I looked at their growth. I looked at their ASO. Their ASO machines, all they care about is keywords, and they do them pretty well, the ones that are successful at least. So this is why I started with the keywords here. But the only thing that I could say about this is, because there's a lot going on, I don't exactly know where to look. I think, but this works. Ultimately, this works. So I really like this overall. The only thing I would say is use VPN in more of your screenshots, specifically for the algorithm. One tap to connect instantly anywhere. That's great. I think that would convert well, but throw VPN into this, where really we need to lean into VPN because it's super competitive. Same with this, unlock apps and games using with low latency VPN. Stream content from anywhere in full speed. I don't think with VPN would work, but I'm sure you can come up with something. And what I said to everyone else, I think social proof is really incredibly important. The more competition you have, more competition, really less that people are relying on features and more that they're relying on, okay, there are 1,600 VPNs. I should probably use the one everyone is using because it's probably the best, or it's probably not going to steal my information, or something like that. So that's what I would lean into here. I would also simplify this a little bit. There's a lot going on. I don't think people care about this as much. And also, for those who have asked about what the AI from Apple can see, I don't think this will make it happy. So this is kind of clever, but I don't think Apple will understand this. The AI OCR, those are much simpler than you think, even the AI. And so it might guess that this is an N, but it may not. And depends where the threshold is. It might just ignore it altogether. So not terrible because we have VPN here and VPN here. But at the same time, if this is the only representation of a keyword, you probably don't want to do that. So also learn from this. It's a little bit too busy for my taste. I don't think this is a bad thing. VPNs are a much different beast. And if I had more time, I would go and try to understand more VPN competitors to do this analysis. But really, this is a game of make sure you have focus on keywords and make sure you have benefits and simplicity. And that's how you win. And we are right at the end. So that's pretty much all I had for you. If you have any questions, I'll take some questions. Otherwise, that's pretty much it from today. Next time, I'm going to be talking about other things, not just screenshots, but screenshot teardowns will come in the future, especially once iOS 26 comes out and we see the benefit of tying keywords, organic keywords, to screenshots. So let's see if there's anything else on the question side. Leonardo is asking a good question. Do you think Apple can interpret long-tail keywords in multiple lines? I think so. I think what they do is they probably read the entire screenshot and they extract as much as they can, anything that's visible, and then they try to turn that into something useful. That's why screenshots with a lot of text that is really small likely will be seen as screenshot information, meaning something from an actual screenshot from the app, and that's probably ignored. But if you have 2 lines of text, it'll probably be fine. The one thing I would say is if you have 2 lines of text, make sure that they make sense for humans, because most humans are not going to read the 2 lines of text. They're just going to glance at them really quickly. So make sure that they're very glanceable. Let's see. Quick question from Isuru. I don't know if you talked about this previously, but I see a lot of apps putting the tagline first and then the app name. Is there a benefit to that? Absolutely. That was my idea many, many years ago, and I'm glad to see more apps using it. The idea is that the algorithm reads keywords from left to right, in left to right languages. And so what's on the left side is more important than what's on the right. It gets more benefit. And usually your app's name, the real name, is so unique that you don't need to give it a lot of algorithm juju, but you do want to have the focus put on the real keywords that are probably more competitive. That's the idea, and that seems to work very consistently. So highly recommended. If you're not doing that, you might be missing out, and I would highly recommend testing that, at least trying that for a few weeks or a month and seeing if that improves your conversion rate or if that improves your visibility in keywords that are related. Okay, one more. Lots of keywords. I'm working on an app sport, has basketball, soccer, football, hockey. I do plan on doing custom product pages, but on the main page, should I not try to stuff everything in? This is a follow-up. I think you can in a very tasteful way, and you should. Maybe not all of them. I don't know how many use cases you're going for, but let's say you're going for 15. Maybe take the top 5 or the top 3, depending on how you see usage for the app. So if you see that most of your users are going to a small set of activities, go after those. If everyone is going for everything, try to bring it in. I don't know how easy that would be, but you can try. Okay, let's continue. Jan's asking, did you talk about the new app tags in the App Store? I didn't. That's going to come in the future. And Leonardo is asking, how do you CPP for organic searches? That's a feature that's now, as of I think today, yesterday, is available in App Store Connect. I'm going to come up with a video for how to do that and what's the best way to do it. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's not exactly what I thought it would be. It kind of looks like Apple will reduce some flexibility and have us match keywords to custom product pages. based on something they created as opposed to an open-ended bring your keyword. So we'll see what's going on there, but more on that later. And on this happy note, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, not in the chat because the chat is going to go away and the comments will stay, and I will answer them. Otherwise, I'll see you in a few weeks with a brand new topic. So keep an eye on the newsletter to make sure you're getting this. That's it for me. I will see you later.